Hey guys, so today I'm talking about making holographic projectors out of things you would normally throw in the trash. For instance, this Coke bottle can be made into this cool holographic projector. Children would love something like this. This one is made out of just a used Amazon delivery box, which would normally end up in the trash, but it's really easy to make. So I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to make this. Great for a rainy afternoon, or if you have kids or grandkids visiting, great thing to do in the afternoon when they have nothing better to do. So guys, the first one I'm going to show you how to assemble is the Coke bottle 3D holographic projector, and it's something you're going to throw in the trash, so it's something that would be fun for kids and it would really be enjoyable. Now you've got to have something to reflect the image, and some of this clear acetate is the best product I've found, and I've ordered 7 mil. It's not quite as thick as I wished it was because it tends to warp. You need to get it as flat as possible when you put it together. You can also use some of these baking sheet tops or baking pan tops made out of plastic. Some of them are clearer than others, so you need to look carefully at the store if you decide to go that route. You can also use any type of, you could use a sandwich bag as long as it's perfectly clear, and you need to make sure you get it as flat as possible once you get it assembled. But I will put that link in the description if you want to order some of this very inexpensive acetate paper. So we're going to get started on this. I'll angle it down so you can see a little bit better as to exactly what I'm doing. Now before I go into step one, I just wanted to say something about a Coke bottle versus some of the cheaper bottles. This has some ribbed plastic there, and so sometimes that can mess the effect up. The one that I found worked better was just a very inexpensive bottle of soda, and it has a very smooth outer edge. So I would recommend that if you're going to do this and you want the best effect possible, you might go with maybe an off-brand because they don't put as much effort into their bottles, and you get kind of a much smoother outer surface. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take a razor blade and cut right at above the label, and we just need to do that very carefully and slowly. Go all the way around. We're going to have to come back with a pair of scissors and give it a second cut to smooth it out. Now that we remove that, we want to take a pair of scissors and cut as close to this. In this particular instance, this Coke bottle has a very specific line. Now you may have to trace around the outer edges and make a perfect circle yourself, but let's see if we can do this without getting out of alignment there. Now we got it pretty smooth, pretty set, pretty flat where it's sitting on a surface. We won't have any angle. But as I said, the Coke bottle, if you look closely, you can see there's some ribs. Now we're going to wipe the inside of the bottle out. If you do use alcohol to clean it, make sure you use a very pure alcohol, maybe a 99%, because some of those lower grade alcohols can leave a little bit of a residue there. Now, in order to cut our acetate paper or any type of plastic in the right way, we want to make kind of a template. So I took some of this photo paper and I measured it out, the width of our bottle, and then I went and I cut out, kind of freehanded it. I drew out the edges there. So you want to kind of create this type of effect, because I'll show you once it gets into the bottle, we want it at a kind of a 45 degree angle. So I'm hoping you can see that, because that is the reflective surface our image is going to be seemingly floating inside the bottle, so it gives it a great effect there. So what you need is any type of cardboard, photo paper, anything like that, and just create this kind of curved angle. Now once you have that, you're going to take your acetate or your lids to your baking pans, whatever you have, and you're going to put it right at the corner, and we want to draw an outline and cut it out perfectly. Now I've taken some black construction paper to be able to kind of see the outline a little bit better of the acetate, because it's clear, and this countertop makes it really hard to see because it's a little bit glossy. So we're just going to mark around the edges of that before we cut it. Make sure we have a nice angle there, if you can see that, of the bottle. It's not perfect, but we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut this out. Again, if you're using some of the aluminum pan tops, you just need to be a little bit more careful. Sometimes they can be a little bit sharp, so just be careful with that with small children. You may want to handle the scissors yourself. And we're going to do that. Cut all the way around. Try to get that arch effect. And then we're going to try to go back and maybe remove some of the black around the edges. But when we do put it in here, we want it to be at a 45 degree angle. So that way, when our image from below comes from our smartphone, mini iPad, small tablet, whatever we have, it reflects and it gives it kind of a floating holographic effect inside the bottle. Now I made 2 of these from the bottle, and what you want to do is remove the cap and put your tape right up against the top of the cap. You can see it right there, and then that way it'll hold it. You want to try to make it as flat as possible because any warpage will kind of distort the image. So go to the bottom, do the same thing, put 2 more pieces of tape down there, then you'll have it ready. Again, I think these less expensive bottles are better because they're in a more of a generic brand, but like I said, the Coke, you can kind of see it has a little bit of texture to it. Also, if you can use a marker that's a little bit lighter, sometimes the black, as I said just a minute ago, can be seen around the edges. So unless you're really good with your pair of scissors, you want to make sure that you make it as kind of invisible as possible. Now this works best in a room that's not so brightly lit. If you have an intense lighting system, you may want to dim it a little bit, but it's really easy to put together and it really has an interesting effect, and I think kids would really like this. So this is step 1 in our just common ordinary Coke bottle. Let's move on to our Amazon delivery box, and I'll show you how to put that together. And it requires a few additional products, but you probably already have them around your house. Now personally, I think the Amazon delivery box looks the best, and it's really easy to put together. Not hard at all. It just requires a little bit of forethought and planning. And what we've done is we've taken just a medium-sized Amazon delivery box, cut out the top, and then cut out the front side over here. What I've also done is I've added black construction paper to the inside of it. That's going to make a huge difference in the effect. Really makes it have this kind of transparent floating effect. So you need to, I haven't got this tape, I need to get some 2-sided tape, but anyways, that really gives it an interesting effect. I think kids would love it. But anyways, let's move on to the second thing we need to do here. Is I took just an ordinary picture off the wall, took the glass out of it, tried to clean it pretty well, and then I found one that was just the right size for the box. So that's another thing, is you don't want one that's too small. The larger the glass, the better, as long as it matches the box size perfectly. And that gives it a really unique effect because it just seems like it's inside the box floating there. Seems like you could just reach out and grab it. So this is really easy to do. It's just something you're going to discard or throw away. You just need construction paper, a pair of scissors. You can cut that out easy. Almost everybody has a picture on the wall. They just take the glass out of it, out of a picture frame, and they can make an incredible looking 3D holographic projector. So let's move on to the next step. In my opinion, I think this one is a lot easier to put together, but it almost seems like you could reach out and touch whatever's floating inside the box. It has an incredible 3D effect there, and I feel like this is really easier to put together than the Coke bottle, but just depending on what materials you have at hand, you can make it really easy. If you have a smaller, like a mini tablet, just use a smaller box. If you have one of the larger Pro tablets, just go upsize again to a larger box. But it's really easy to put together, and it gives an amazing kind of ghostly floating effect there. So guys, I really think this is a fun Saturday afternoon project, rainy day project, grandkids visiting for the holidays project. Just something like this will be a very memorable thing for kids to do, and I think they really enjoy it. So this is a little bit out of the norm for me. I'm usually in the garden or in my workshop creating things, but when I came across this, I thought this would be a great project for kids and parents or grandparents to do. So just follow along. You'll be amazed at the final results, and kids will be really amazed at how incredibly lifelike each one looks. So guys, if you have a question about this video or any previous video, I hope you'll become a published subscriber first. I put those questions to the front of the line. If you really want to help the channel grow and you like this type of content, I hope you'll become a member of the Patreon. That really encourages me and helps me to see that there's a lot of people out there with the same interest as myself. So take a look at the links in the description. I'll also put everything that you might need to put this together outside of the Coke bottle or tablet or phone. Maybe I'll even find one on there at a discount that you could order that wouldn't be terribly expensive if you don't already have one, but I think almost everyone does. So guys, I really appreciate you watching, and have a great day.